Hey YouTube, I'm back with another deck profile. Today I'm going to be doing a deck profile on my updated Granblue deck for Fighters Collection. So this one's going to be the Nightmist, or Seven Seas is actually the archetype or subclan name. So Nightmist, the break right for Granblue, another guy who sort of got support. The nice thing about him is they did give them a grade 3 as the double R in the Fighters Collection, and it does have 7 Cs in the name. So it's kind of like a zombie or undead. Well, this guy's a vampire, so I don't know. Anyway, in playtesting the deck, honestly, I actually kind of prefer my previous deck that I posted on this channel. But this one's still a pretty fun one to play as. It does have more units that have 7 Cs in the name, so it can have more chances of actually using this guy. So to start off, my 3 Lord of 7 Seas Nightmist, I've only always ever had 3 of this guy, and for some reason just playing the deck enough, I feel like just 3 is enough. Like 4 is probably ideal because you do kind of want to ride this as the main Vanguard. Some games you won't ride this because of just the lineup, but thanks to the Stride and thanks to the new grade 3, which is actually 7 Seas Sage Plegaton, so I feel like this is the thing that this guy summons or something. But sometimes you'll have to ride this guy because you do have 4 copies of it, so you're more likely to ride this. It's not the end of the world. When it's placed on V, you can choose one card from the drop zone, call it to rearguard at the end of the turn, retire it. So he does call something up, but with the break ride as the main Vanguard, you could potentially break ride and get like 3 units for that turn. As well as you can superior break ride this guy from the drop zone for counterblast too. So I do like that, but yeah, 4 of this would be more ideal. I just never bothered to get a 4th one because I've always just played the deck with the 9 grade 3 lineup, so 3 break ride always seemed to just work for me, especially in Legion format when break ride wasn't all that essential, although it was still very good play to do. Next, 2 Witch Doctor of the Dead Sea. This guy, 2 of him, I did not take him out. Instead, what I did was I took out the Legion. So originally I was running 3 of the other Legion, the Pinot Blanc or Noir, and I was running 1 Night Snow or Nightmist. Basically the ghost guy from the older Fighters Collection that could superior ride himself from the drop zone. So that guy was in here, plus the other Legion had 3 copies. So I did take those guys out completely for this guy, just so I could run the new Stride unit more consistently. But this guy's, in my opinion, he's better to keep over the other Legion, mainly because his Legion mate is better for 1, and also his he can do his skill after on subsequent turns after he's already Legion, whereas the other Granblue Legion, it only did its effect when it Legioned, so I feel like this is probably just the more consistent one if you're going for this lineup. So 2 copies, just so you can potentially break ride and then Legion, or you just don't use it at all, just use it as Stride fodder. So 9 grade 3s so you can Stride efficiently and early. Next, 4 Dragon, Undead Ghoul Dragon. He's the Legion mate for the Witch Doctor, and also he gives the what he does is when a unit is placed on R from the drop zone, he gains the red skill of when his attack hits the Vanguard. You can choose one of your opponent's triggers to retire it. So he gives you the ability to get rid of Laurel and really annoying cards. That's why I like him. And it stacks. So if you call like 2 things on break ride turn, for example, or on the Stride turn, he can, if he hits, he can retire like 2 things. So like him at 4. He's Legion mate. Next, 4 Dragon Corrode, Corrupt Dragon. This card at 4, he's kind of like the, I want to call him like the Tile Assault of the deck, because on break ride he comes to the field from the drop zone at 17k. So he hits really good numbers without any booster. And then if you superior call him with any of the other effects, like whether it's the Legion effect, whether it's his on ride effect, whether it is the Stride effect, he will hit the field at 12k with no boost. So very good card, very central card for them. And then my 3 Ruin Shade, just like Nightmist, I've always only had 3 Ruin Shade. This card will get reprinted in the upcoming set that has the Granblue cards, I believe. But, well, I've had access to it for all this time, and I must say it is a very good card for Granblue. Helps them mill, and it does help rush because it's an 11k grade 2, like as soon as it's on the Vanguard or Rare Guard, so really good. That's the reason why it was a triple R originally. For grade 1s, I'm still running my 1 Reef Banshee. There's no reason to take her out. The deck doesn't counterblast too much. It does counterblast a little bit now, or quite a bit because of this guy, mainly if you're superior break riding. But other than that, really good at getting things in the drop zone, and because you still do run Legion, you can put back all the triggers that she accidentally throws in there. So again, I feel like Legion in Granblue is always going to be one of the better, more consistent Granblue playstyles because of just the way the deck works, the way it mills. Legion can fix like milled triggers and stuff, so I wouldn't run this deck without running at least one of the Legions. So Reef Banshee, and then 3 Gustian. So 4 Sentinel cards. Next, 4 Boatswain Armin. He was actually not in my previous build. The previous build focused more on the Limit Break Enabler. So you could potentially use Night Snow early. You could Break Ride early. But now, because of the 7 Seas Stride, you don't need to worry too much about limit breaking early because you can just use your extra grade 3s to stride and do stride plays until you hit 4 damage, and then you can start focusing on other things like break riding and Legion and stuff like that. So I feel like this is good because when you call it from the drop zone, it's just like him. It gets 3k, so it's a 10k grade 1 from drop zone. This is 12k, so these two together is really strong on the stride turn. So that's why 4 of him and 4 of that. And then 3 Sea Strolling Banshee. This is basically their Dindre equivalent type of card. So it's really good in here. Soul Blast 1 when it's called from the drop zone to draw a card. And on Break Ride turn, she will be an 11k booster, so really good. And then 1 Evil Shade. You only really need 1. It's just a tech choice. It helps you mill, and it's a 10k booster for the Vanguard. And then 1 Deadly Nightmare. The reason why I run Deadly Nightmare is to replace Banshees or things that cannot hit like 16k in a column. So he's in there for that reason. And plus it'll Soul Blast 2, retire this thing so it goes back for more calling. And then when you Break Ride, you'll be able to still Soul Blast and draw and stuff like that. So lots of interesting combos. So that's why I kind of like how Granblue is a unique deck because things can get retired. You can just recall them again. For the trigger lineup, 12 critical. It didn't change. 12 critical and Granblue, in my opinion, is the best way to go. Because you mill a lot, you're going to end up sending a lot of triggers to the drop zone. You call stuff from the drop zone, so you manage your hand that way. And then the starter is Peter the Ghosty still, because I still feel Peter the Ghosty is still one of the best starters. He goes away early into the soul, so you can Soul Blast him. He draws you a card to replace himself, and he mills 2 cards to the drop zone. So he helps set up for Legion, he helps you set up the drop zone for calling things that need to be in there, and things like that. So for the strides, it is 2 Loved by the Seas, or Loved by the 7 Seas, Nightmist. So 2 is really all you really need because you won't really stride in a deck without any stride fodder, but it is running 9 grade 3. You won't really stride more than like 3, maybe 4 times a game. But if you're striding 4 times in a match, that means the match really dragged out. So usually 2, maybe 3 times, but usually it's like 2 times with Break Ride and then stuff like that. So 2 of him is enough. So what he does is once per turn, he can counterblast 1 during the main phase. If you have a 7 Seas in the heart, you can counterblast 1, choose up to 2 cards from your drop zone, call them separate R. At the end of the turn, retire those units. So it's kind of like a mini form of the Break Ride skill. But because it's stride, you can use it earlier than the Break Ride skill. So usually that's how you tend to play the deck. You will stride, and then you will usually superior break ride from the drop zone at that point. I'm using this guy's skill of CB2, and then he will call something, and then the break ride will call 2 things plus 5k to them, and all 3 of those units die at the end. So they go for some really big, interesting plays. Next, to Pirate King of the Abyss Blueheart. This is their previous strike unit they got in the Fires Collection. So this one, it's not as good because you have to retire. You have to call. You can counterblast 1 to call up to 2 units from the drop zone to a separate R with a unit. So what this is good for is, for example, if you have like leftover Banshees that have already used their effect, they're just 6k boosters. So you can use this to potentially call, say, these things over them. So these will be 10k, effectively making much better columns that turn and stuff like that. So then these go away. So then later on you can call them up with like a break ride turn or something. So that's the reason why this is in here at 2. That's what it does. And then because of the Legion, the 2 Madu, really, honestly, you really only need like 1 of this. If I had a 3rd one of him, I'd run him at 3. But other than that, it's just the Atmos and the Blizzard, because Granblue still doesn't have anything better at this time. I mean, there is the Crusadus build, but I don't really have the Crusadus Stride unit, so I can't really use that. But anyway, that's basically it. Let me know in the comments what you think of Granblue in the current meta, how they stack up, and how well they do compared to, say, another rogue clan like Tachikaze or Spike Brothers, or even Nubatama and Murakumo. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed that video, and as always, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.